spoke to someone, it was just like the things that they wanted to build were not big enough.
And this talk to me, because what's interesting
Yeah.
is that you actually, so you went to London,
Yes.
you studied there, but then you came back, which
Yes.
is like quite interesting to me.
I
So
did.
first of all, what happened? How did you get to London? How did that come about?
So I did my undergraduate from the London School of Economics, and I was doing accounting and finance there, and it was great. I think it was a very rigorous sort of university and very rigorous degree, and sort of managed to get my startup visa straight after in the UK as well. And the idea was to build a business in the UK. But every time I spoke to someone, it was just like the things that they wanted to build were not big enough.
And this was what year?
This was probably 2020. I started looking at sort of, building business and stuff all the way from 2018.
That's when you first went?
Yeah, well, 2017 is when I first went. But around
For uni.
2018 is when I was like, okay, I don't care about getting an investment banking job or a consulting job. I'm just gonna, build something.
Yeah.
I started off in the nonprofit space and just like, helping out folks that actually needed help versus like, just making rich people richer kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, sort of realized I needed to make money.
Yeah.
And that's when that helps. So that's when I started like ideating on things that do that commercially. And as I spoke to more and more people, I felt like a lot of people didn't dream big enough. People didn't want to leave London. They didn't want to, expand into New York or San Francisco or any of those kind of things. And then I flew out to the US, and we actually got backed by an accelerator in San Francisco, and it kind of opened my eyes to what innovation at scale kind of really looks like. And I think London does that well in the context of like biotech, and some cases deep tech as well. But I do think that they lack it in the context of more commercial applications. Like if you look at the companies that we use in our daily lives today, even in Dubai, right? Google, Amazon, like, Netflix. These are all US companies, right? None of them originated in the UK. There's very few success stories of that, or even out here, right? Like we're not yet at that stage where we've got that international success represented. And that's what I thought, these places like London lacked. And I was like, if I'm going to do this, why don't I do it in a place that I actually really, really deeply care about, aka Dubai, because it's home for me. It's kind of set my family up for, what we've been able to build out here. Mm-hmm. So I should just do it in a place that I care about more than anything else. That's why I came back out here, and I wanted to inspire more tech people to sort of start businesses, because I didn't have any role models out here for being a tech entrepreneur. So that's really kind of the story, and like how we went out there, absorbed the best parts of it, and then really brought it back to place that we care about. And now we want to build a global business, a decacorn outcome from Dubai to the rest of the world.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to be so exciting to hear.
I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're obviously very entrepreneurial. Where does that come from?
Comes from failure.
Okay.
Comes from I think realizing that I think as Indian people, we kind of always worry about what other people think of us. I don't know like how prominent it is in British culture, but like it's a big deal for Indians, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like there's a saying in Hindi, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's kind of like log kya kahenge or something like this, right? Which is like, what will people think of you, if you fail? And I think we have this in our blood that we have to get a job and like make money and like, make sure that we're progressing linearly in life so that other people know that we're doing well.
Status, yeah.
Right? But when I decided to work 2 part-time jobs straight out of university after a degree at LSE, there were a few question marks raised. Like they're like, oh, is he employed? Does he have a job?
And so a lot of the times entrepreneur on your CV, on your bio means
you're not really employed. But it was that, and then I was like crashing on like my friends' couches, like doing all sorts of stuff in London. Didn't want to take any money from anyone at that stage, and I was just trying to make my ends meet out there. So that's kind of like really, I think, what drives me to be entrepreneurial, because I want to set new role models in place, because I'm just like, if you don't let people fail and then like sort of back them after that failure, if you don't tell people that they can get a second chance, I think we're setting the wrong precedent as a society. So that's kind of like why I think it's important to push this entrepreneurship narrative forward and to let people know that it's possible, no matter how much money you have or what you start off of, that's not where you end up. And I think that's an important story to keep telling people.